Bharata First. You're watching Big Picture with me, Frank Razum Pereira. Since you're here, let me ask you, have you liked the video and subscribed to Bharata First? If no, then please do so now. To subscribe to our newsletter as well to get some incisive information. Well, and how can I not tell you about the Bharata First Knowledge Center, our big success story. It is your one-stop destination for all your competitive exams needs. We now have 26 amazing courses in all available at less than 1,000 rupees per course as part of our early bird offer. We are also offering an additional 10% discount for the first 100 to register. These seats are filling up fast and we are keeping it open only for a few more days. So ensure that you register now and don't wait any further because you will miss out on this great opportunity. Go to kc.bharatafirst.com and get all the details there. Hundreds are reaping the benefits of the Knowledge Center. Don't be left behind. Don't regret later. All this information along with some must-see recommendations are in the description of the video. Please go through it. And now on to the discussion. The consequences of China's rise and its growing capabilities are particularly profound, External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar said as he flagged the sharpening of tensions on territorial issues across Asia with Beijing's actions, raising a question mark on the agreements of yesteryears. Speaking at the 5th Indian Ocean Conference, IOC 2021 in Abu Dhabi on Saturday, Jaishankar also said that in a globalized world, it is vital that the freedom of navigation and overflight and unimpeded commerce are respected and facilitated. Noting that a number of developments have taken place that have direct bearing on the well-being of the Indian Ocean region, the minister said that the two developments, the changing American strategic posture and the rise of China, have influenced the evolution of the Indian Ocean in recent years. In this edition of Big Picture, we will analyze the 5th Indian Ocean Conference. Joining me on the program today are Major General Ashwini Sivach, retired strategic analyst, Suresh Goyal, former ambassador, and Commodore Anil Jayasingh, retired Vice President, Indian Maritime Foundation. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on this edition of Big Picture. Commodore, let me start the program with you first. The situation and times have really changed as far as the Indian Ocean is concerned. America is looking at it differently. China is trying to play a bigger role. India has always been a player in this particular region. It is in this backdrop that the 5th Indian Ocean Conference was held. What were the key highlights, key takeaways, and what stood out for you from the conference?
I think the most actually, the fundamental underpinning of the conference was what Mr. Ram Madhav said in his opening remarks, where he stated that the Indian Ocean is now the epicenter of the global power axis, which actually is what is the real situation in the Indian Ocean at the moment. And I think the Indian Ocean Conference by itself is a great initiative taken by the government of India to assume a leadership role in this region and create that connectivity and convergence that the Indian Ocean has lacked for a long time. Indian Ocean is a very disaggregated region if you really look at it. And that's why organizations like the IORA and all have never really picked up the momentum they should have, because every sort of area has got its own, the West Asia is a separate entity, East Africa is a separate entity, the subcontinent seems to be a separate entity. So that disaggregation of the Indian Ocean, bringing that together, India has to take a leadership role in the Indian Ocean. And this is one of the initiatives. The other, of course, is the Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. And if you really look at the three themes of this conference, ecology, economy, and epidemic, these are the three issues that really are what this region needs to address. And all of them are underpinned by maritime security. And I think that is where we come into the sort of ambit of the doctrine of Sagar. And this is quite in line with that. So I think the key takeaways were this convergence, that India should assume this leadership role from an Indian perspective, and that the extra-regional presence that we seem to be worried about, or we should be worried about, is kept in check by creating a sort of inclusive, cooperative regional mechanism to further the interests of the Indian Ocean states by the Indian Ocean countries. That was how I would look at this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very key points that you raised there. General, let me bring you into the picture now. From a strategic point of view, how important is the Indian Ocean for India? Of course, that is one perspective. And how important is it for us to play that leadership role in the region to keep other players out?
Yeah, Frank, you see, first of all, Indian Ocean region is very important for India. 70 to 80% of the world trade passes through this. So there are these sea lanes which are going through Indian Ocean are, one can say, economically and from trade point of view, very important, and also from the security point of view. Now, the issue which comes is that there are a number of players which have come in Indian Ocean. And of late, it is China, which is now the expansionism attitude of China is what making a difference in this. First time in this conference or anywhere else, where our External Affairs Minister Jaishankar has so much openly come and pointed out finger toward China. Now, that is a point which must be seen, where it clearly said that Indian Ocean is a ocean which is an area of connectivity. There should be a free flow of the trade. There should be a freedom of navigation, and there should be a multipolarity. Now, the issue which is coming is possibly it was more focused toward, what China is trying to do in all over the world, especially in South China Sea, the way it has basically got a problem with all its neighbors. It is trying to grab the complete South China Sea. It is a problem with, Japan in East China Sea. It want to grab their island. Now, as far as Indian Ocean is concerned, it is coming in a big way. How it is coming in a big way? Now, there are 5 to 6 submarines of China anytime, any point of time. Also, some frigates are there, and which is trying to dominate. And for India, it is very important that we have got to do 2-3 things. One is that we have to now emerge as a blue water navy. We have to go out by increasing our footprints in Indian Ocean, and that can only happen if we increase our the naval capability in terms of aircraft carrier, in terms of nuclear power submarine, in terms of SSBN. Now, this thing comes very loud and clear. The second thing is it is a time of multipolar world. So you have to have a sort of coordination and cooperation of different countries. The Quad is a step in the right direction, which pointed out very categorically that the 3 basic principles of Quad is what is required today. First is freedom of navigation, rule-based international order, maintaining territorial integrity and sovereignty of all nations, including minor island nation, Indian Ocean region. No, this is what it is required. Where is you are finding it that China is not following the rule of the game. China is doing what they are doing it. And so therefore, in the India has very categorically said the space which has been left by America due to its domestic compulsion and also trying to give some sort of realism in its deployment, this space has been now occupied by China, and this is creating a threat all over the world, and this required to be countered by multipolar world. You need more cooperation, coordination on number of countries, the way the Quad has come, the way the AUKUS has come. So I suppose as far as India is concerned, we can say that in time to come, we need to do 2-3 things. One is modernization of Navy, coordination and cooperation with other nations. And third thing is, not only in Indian Ocean region, we have to be wary of China also in our territorial dispute which is taking place in Ladakh. Frank.
Points taken, General. Let me take the points that you made forward. A couple of aspects to take forward with you, Ambassador, the American aspect as well as China. We'll come to America a little later on in the program, and the void that the Americans have left behind and the kind of posturing that they have resorted to of late. But before that, let's continue on this China aspect now. Do you feel that China has been more assertive as far as the Indian Ocean is concerned, especially under Xi Jinping, and is trying to change equations? Talking about equations, what are China's equations with, the islands of the Indian Ocean and other countries that have a major stake in the Indian Ocean?
Frank, I must preface my remarks with a small recollection of the history of the Indian Ocean. I'm not dealing with the Indian Ocean, but looking at Indian Ocean from a professional point of view, since I joined the Foreign Service in 1978. And I remember clearly, even till 1980s, early 1990s, our policy was the Indian Ocean as zone of peace. We did not want any big power to be present in the Indian Ocean, including China. China was with India at that time to keep Indian Ocean free of the big power rivalry. Now, China, and that is where my remarks come from. China itself is emerging as a big power, and the whole thing has now turned on its head. China is interested in playing a major role in the Indian Ocean for the simple reason that if China has to give a contest, if China has to contest USA as a superpower, the one area where, or the two regions where it is going to happen will be Indian Ocean and the Pacific. And the Indian Ocean is immediately the area where China is expanding its footprints. China is using its economic heft to essentially bring the small island nations into its own ambit of influence. China is using its economic heft to go to Maldives, to deal with Mauritius, okay, to basically build bases in Djibouti. Therefore, I think the approach now, if I come to Indian approach in terms of dealing with the situation, the policy of keeping Indian Ocean as the zone of peace or to keep big powers out of Indian Ocean is clearly not going to work. And therefore, now the approach is that if China is coming there, India has to be present in the Indian Ocean to the extent possible, given our own limited resources, and therefore using those resources in a judicious manner, but to be there to meet the challenge of an aggressive and assertive China, controlling not just navigation route, but also the resources, the blue economy resources, including the fisheries and everything. Therefore, now it is becoming actually an area where the big power contest or the big power play is coming into open. And these big powers at the moment are really China and the USA, and India has to play a role in that. And very soon, you will have Russia joining the game.
Absolutely. Commodore, let me take this aspect forward with you, of the aspect that the ambassador raised about the limited resources that we have. Considering the kind of resources that we have in our arsenal at the moment, how big a role can we play in the Indian Ocean region, and can we float along the big guns like China and the United States?
Well, frankly speaking, Frank, the PLA Navy, if you notice all that happened in Galwan last year or happening along the LAC, you'll see that China in no way has tried to provoke India in the Indian Ocean, in the maritime domain. And that is not because China does not see it as part of its larger strategic design. It's because China presently, despite being the largest navy in the world by numbers, does not yet have the power projection capability to challenge the Indian Navy in the Indian Ocean. And that is the reason they are just maintaining a presence. They deliberately don't do anything provocative. The research ships come and go, the submarines come and go, all that is fine. I mean, you can't stop a navy coming into the highs in the high seas. But situation is changing. If you notice, they've got a base in Djibouti, where they're extending the length of the jetty to accommodate aircraft carriers. They have got more or less proxy controls of Gwadar port, which from where the CP, Pakistan Economic Corridor, begins. They are arming the Pakistan Navy with 4 destroyers. The first one has already been commissioned, PNS Tugril, and 8 submarines. Now, why would a country the size of Pakistan, with the coastline of Pakistan size, need 8 new AIP-equipped submarines? It's obviously for a larger strategic plan that China has for the Indian Ocean. And the Indian Ocean is key to China's dominance of the world. For maritime dominance, it has to, because its own maritime geography is not favorable to it. It needs a wide open oceanic space from where it then sort of launches its strategy. It already has an Atlantic strategy in place. It has a polar strategy in place. It has everything in place. Now what it's trying to build up is its capability. So if you notice how they're expanding the Navy, they're expanding with 20 to 25 warships a year. And the focus is not so much the number of warships, it's the type of warships. Every warship that they're now commissioning has a blue water capability. So the older, smaller ships are getting replaced by these much better, powerful, more blue water capable platforms. And just to give you a very, I mean, it's a figurative example, but the Chinese Navy is adding an Indian Navy every 5 to 6 years. So that's the sort of maritime expansion we're seeing. And if India has to compete, I'm sorry, that's this constant refrain that we don't have resources is very seen beyond the point. Because if you have to compete, if you have to dominate the Western Indian Ocean, so far no one challenged India in the Western Indian Ocean. India was a preeminent maritime power. 60% of our oil comes from the Straits of Hormuz. What happens when China has control over Djibouti? It has control over Gwadar, and it may even have a presence in the Straits of Hormuz because of the sort of outreach it's making to Iran. It's going to be a major critical strategic vulnerability for India to have a powerful Chinese presence in the Western Indian Ocean. So we have to blunt that Chinese edge. And we have to make the resources available to the Navy to develop the necessary force levels to be able to do that.
Absolutely. So we can't keep hiding behind this bogey of resources. We actually have to make the resources available if we really want to compete with China and others and want to remain a preeminent force, especially in the Western Indian Ocean. That's what Commodore is suggesting and saying. Let me take the discussion forward now with the General. General, when we are looking at it from this perspective, does it make sense? I mean, it's a point that you made earlier in the program as well, to start having better collaborations, better cooperation with like-minded nations, especially in the region, so that we can have shared goals and pursue those shared goals and ensure that we meet those goals as well.
Absolutely correct. Frank, this is the only way forward. As far as India is concerned, we have a limited resources, what Commodore is trying to convey. China is playing its card very well. First of all, it is encircling India. It has got islands all over, which is encircling India, starting from Myanmar, Huakapu, Chittagong in Bangladesh, then Hambantota in Sri Lanka, Djibouti in East Africa, and now Gwadar. So it has already, put its ports, it has ships, its missiles in these sort of locality, which will try to encircle India, and we have to be very careful. Why China is interested in Indian Ocean region, it has got 2-3 basic reasons. One is that the 60 to 70% of the world trade goes through this Indian Ocean, and so is the China. So China has no other alternative but to dominate it in case it wants to become a world power. Second thing is, it wants to now have its own hegemony and ensure that the other countries follow not the rules of the game which are dictated by UNCLOS, United Nations, laws, but should follow what China says. And therefore, the China will try to be very aggressive and assertive. And rise of China is violent at the cost of others. And hence, it is a case of a worry as far as India is concerned. Now, remember what Commodore was also trying to convey, that a country like Pakistan, which has a very weak navy compared to Indian Navy, but of late is been giving a number of ships. Tugril is the largest ship which was in the inventory of the Navy, has been given to China, by China to Pakistan. The reason is simple. China wants that Indian Navy should not venture too much in the Indian Ocean region. It should get bogged down in basically Arabian Sea, and hence the Pakistan Navy is being now made more modern by giving these ships, frigates, as well as submarine. So you are sucked in Arabian Sea because the threat emerged from there. And that is what is the game plan with the China is playing it very cleverly. That, whatever limited resources which we have, and we were trying to dominate Indian Ocean region. And till now, there was not too much competition. But now the China has come in a big way. So only way to counter China is a multipolar and also trying to cooperate and coordinate with other countries. And that's why we joined Quad. Because the Quad is not a military alliance, though we say, but in time to come, this Malabar exercise, when the 4 navies of these 4 countries, India, Australia, Japan, and US, are sort of doing exercise. We are doing exercise for not for anything. We have a purpose for it. We want to coordinate. We want to cooperate. We want to tell China that you cannot get away what you are trying to convey. And that's why the China is worried about it. And that's why it is called Asian NATO. So the point today is there is no other alternative but to coordinate and cooperate with other navies of the world And today, Navy of China is emerging a great Navy, and you can only counter by coordinating it. Another thing which was there was just 15 seconds. What happened is that the America very intelligently realized out of this quad member, the Navy of Australia wasn't that good. It was slightly weak, and they lacked a nuclear power submarine. So the AUKUS has come, wherein UK and USA is helping out Australia to have a nuclear power submarine. To say that the quad with 4 navies of world coordinating and cooperating, it is a big challenge for China, and possibly China is worried about it in time to come, and that's why it called it Asian NATO. Frank.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ambassador, let's take this aspect about the United States forward now. Of late, this is something that the External Affairs Minister also said at the conference about how the Americans have changed their posture with regards to the Indian Ocean. And how would you look at that aspect, and how much of an impact is it going to have on India and the region as well? Because at one point in time, the Americans were the preeminent power as far as this particular region were concerned, and very focused and very interested in everything that was happening in West Asia. We've seen a withdrawal from Afghanistan, that is Central Asia. We've seen a withdrawal from West Asia as well, and now from the ocean too. How would you look at this?
I don't think we can talk about withdrawal from the oceans too, really. Let me put it in a slightly different manner, Frank. First of all, I must say that how much ever I wish that India would once again become the preeminent naval power in the Indian Ocean, which is the ocean of its immediate influence region. India does not have the capacity. India does not have the resources, even if we want to make the resources available. Please remember that economically, we are at the moment 5th, and we are nowhere near catching up with China or the USA to be able to provide that kind of resources. We need huge resources. Therefore, in that sense, what Major General Sivas said, till the time that we are able to develop our Navy in that manner, we need to have alliances, we need to have coalitions, we need to have countries working with us. I believe in Chanakya that when your own armies are not strong enough, develop coalition and let those armies attack the enemy from behind. Do that. So we have to have those alliances. Coming to the USA in that context, USA itself, after what happened over the last particularly 4 years, when Trump withdrew from practically every alliance in the world because of his own inward-looking policies, I think Joe Biden is trying to revive some of the alliances. It's focused on NATO. Therefore, USA is coming back into the global alliances, but it has to choose judiciously. It has to choose basically where it can. It developed AUKUS besides Quad. AUKUS was developed essentially to provide nuclear submarine help. I don't know why it actually stabbed France in the back, but that's a different thing altogether. But the fact is that USA is interested in Indian Ocean, particularly South China Seas, coming back strongly as a way to contest China. Similarly, when we signed this Quad agreement with the United Arab Emirates, Israel, and the USA, it's like another Quad basically to, again, provide a challenge to the expanding Chinese power in the Middle East. Gwadar, Straits of Hormuz come to the point immediately, as mentioned by Commodore Anil Jaisingh. So therefore, even the USA knows very well at the moment that it cannot go alone. And I think that is where it is coming to India. One last point which comes to my mind immediately is that if we were to believe that USA will be a dependable ally with us for times to come, I think we need to be very, very cautious. USA will go by its own interests. USA has already given clear indications that it will want to deal with China on the trade matters. At the same time, it does consider China as a strategic challenge.
Right.
Therefore, we have to look at that US policy and work with like-minded countries, because we are not strong enough at the moment to go alone. Maybe in future, yes, we will do so, but for the time being, we must have these countries with us. Israel is an important partner in that context in the West, and USA and Australia in the East.
Absolutely. All right, time to get quick closing comments from all my panelists with the best way forward as far as India is concerned. Starting first with you, Commodore.
I think in one line, trying to sum it up, India is an Indian Ocean power, and India must do everything in its capacity, not only militarily, but across the entire a comprehensive all-of-government approach to ensure that we are able to retain that primacy of ours in the Indian Ocean. And that includes things like Sagar. It includes inclusive capacity building. It includes making effective partnerships with extra-regional powers also, as has come out. And personally, I think AUKUS is a very good idea as far as India is concerned. I think the more nuclear submarines you have in the Indian Ocean against a possible threat and with like-minded nations, it eases a strain on us to that extent. So I think India has to marshal all its capacity and capability to ensure that the Indian Ocean remains India's primary primacy remains in the Indian Ocean. That's
Absolutely. General?
Frank, I just also want to bring one issue here. In the Indian Ocean Conference, our point which was brought by Jaishankar, not only on the Indian Ocean, it also warned the world that country like China is not going to follow the agreements and protocol which is signed. Remembering, it is trying to hint you that in 1993, 1995, 2012, 13 and 15, whatever agreements which we have signed it's been thrown out of the window as far as China is concerned. And hence, you have to worry as far as China is concerned, even in Indian Ocean region, because that it does not follow the rule of the game. It lost in the International Court of Justice the case with Philippines in South China Sea, but it refused to implement that. So therefore, the China is going to be a big threat in time to come. And we have to ensure that the alliance is the only key word, and cooperation, coordination with the multipolar world to counter China. Second thing which we are trying to bring out to US is that China is trying its best to take Chabar. China is trying to put pressure on Iran that they will able to develop the Chabar far better than India, because there was a Katsa, and now India is trying to bring out to the US that if that happens, then this will be the worst thing which can happen, because Chabar has been already developed by India. It is a gateway to basically Central Asian state and connecting with the North-South transport corridor, which also is in the interest of Russia. So therefore, that point is again to be brought to the US that Chabar is very important. Please do not put secondary sanction. Let Chabar be developed by India. It is not only good for India, it is the good way to counter China, because they want to connect Gwadar with Chabar. And also then this connectivity will not be there. As it is, Afghanistan is now with the Taliban. Possibly in time to come, it will take time that connectivity take place. All said and done, I will only sum up that the alliance is the key word to counter China in not only in Indian Ocean region, but all around the world as on today. Frank.
Absolutely. And Ambassador, close the show for us with your concluding remarks.
Very briefly and bullet points. Strong make the rules and the others follow. India has to reclaim that position that it had in the Indian Ocean, and to reclaim that position in the Indian Ocean, there is some distance to go. In that process, do whatever we can, find the place. In the meantime, develop alliances, develop coalitions, work with the like-minded countries to identify our main challenge. And that main challenge at the moment is China. We have to meet the challenge in the Indian Ocean.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining me on the program and putting things into perspective for us. So what's coming out of this discussion is that there is no doubt that China is emerging as a big player in the region and is now more assertive than ever. Beijing has understood that if it wants to be a global power, then it is important for it to control the crucial sea lanes in the Indian Ocean. The ocean is key to China's dominance of the world. It's as simple as that. It has been a preeminent power, or rather India has been a preeminent power in the IOR and will continue to be so, but we have to start standing up to China. And for that, we need resources. Unfortunately, they are limited. So this is where we need to ensure that our economic activity picks up, because if our economy does well and we grow and reach the level at where China and the United States are at the moment, then there is a lot that we can achieve, not just in the seas, but in other areas as well. And because the resources are limited, we should spend them wisely and partner with like-minded nations to take on China's hegemony in the region. And India is a power to reckon with. We must do everything that we possibly can to ensure that things remain that way, because the IOR is our backyard and we cannot allow anyone else to dominate it. Now, before I go, let me once again remind you to like the video, subscribe, and share the video as well, so that more people get to know about Bharata First. Do subscribe to our newsletter to get some incisive information. And how can I not tell you about the Bharata First Knowledge Center, a big success story. It is your one-stop destination for all your competitive exams needs. We now have 26 amazing courses, all available at less than 1,000 rupees per course as part of our early bird offer. We are also offering an additional discount of 10% for the first 100 to register. There are only a few seats left, and this offer will be open for a limited time only. So wait no further, register now and make sure that you reap all these benefits and discounts that we have for you on offer right now. Go to kc.bharatafirst.com to get any further details that you would like as far as the courses are concerned. Hundreds are reaping the benefits of the Knowledge Center. Don't be left behind and don't regret later. All this information along with some must-see recommendations are in the description of the video. Please go through it. That's it from me. See you again next time.